In the rural outskirts of Los Angeles, in a small and modest home, 10-year-old Emily lived with her mother. They had lost Emily's father years ago in Iraq, and despite the pain, her mother tried her best to stay strong for her daughter. Life had never been easy for them. Paying bills and putting food on the table meant Emily's mother worked tirelessly. Yet Emily, in the innocence of childhood, was blissfully unaware of these struggles. She found joy in reading her favorite books, dreaming of brighter days, and cherishing the moments she spent with her mother. That night, Emily was curled up in her room, engrossed in a storybook she loved. Her mother, worn out from the day's endless efforts, had already fallen into a deep sleep. Outside, the winds carried the flames of a wildfire that was rapidly spreading through the area. Emily smelled smoke and her heart started pounding. She rushed out of her room shouting, "Mom! Mom! Something's burning!" When she reached the living room, she saw the eerie shadows of flames dancing on the walls. She dashed to her mother's room, but the thick, choking smoke was overwhelming. Panicking, she had no choice but to run outside. Standing in the yard, tears streamed down Emily's face as she watched the fire completely consume their home. She knew her mother was still inside. Her small body shook with fear and helplessness. Alone in the darkness, all she could do was hope and wait, praying her mother would wake up and escape the inferno. As dawn broke, the remains of the wildfire lay in stark contrast to the rising sun. Ashes and smoke blanketed the landscape, a haunting reminder of the destruction left behind. 10-year-old Emily sat on a stone near the charred ruins of her home, her eyes fixed on the burned doorway. Her small hands were clasped tightly in her lap, her skin smudged with soot, and her tear-streaked cheeks glistened in the dim morning light. Yet, there was still a faint glimmer of hope on her face. "Mom will wake up soon and come out," she whispered to herself, clinging to the innocence of childhood and the belief that her mother was still safe inside. Around her, a very different reality unfolded. Rescue crews combed through the wreckage, neighbors whispered in despair, and the world moved on, oblivious to the small girl's vigil. Emily remained where she was, her gaze unwavering, her tiny heart pounding with fear and determination. All she could think about was her mother walking out of that doorway, smiling and alive. At that moment, Morgan Freeman, who had come to the area to support relief efforts, noticed the little girl sitting alone, Emily's tearful eyes, her silent despair, and the way her small frame seemed lost amid the chaos struck Morgan deeply. Despite having witnessed countless tragedies throughout his life, this scene cut straight to his soul. He approached her quietly, lowering himself to her level, his voice soft and warm. "Sweetheart," he said gently, "why are you here all by yourself? Would you like to tell me what's wrong?" Emily slowly lifted her head, her wide, tear-filled eyes meeting his. There was a mixture of fear and innocence in her gaze. "My mom's inside," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "She's still sleeping. I'm waiting for her to wake up, but I can't go back in. The doors are on fire." Her voice broke into sobs as her tiny hands clutched each other even tighter. Morgan felt the weight of her words settle heavily on his chest. He knelt closer, his voice steady but kind. "Sweetheart," he began carefully. "It seems like the fire was very big. There was a lot of smoke, wasn't there? Sometimes when there's so much smoke, people get very tired and can't wake up, but that doesn't mean they didn't love you." Emily blinked, trying to process his words. She sat quietly for a moment, her mind racing, before tears began to stream down her face again. "So, my mom's not going to wake up?" she asked, her small voice trembling, barely more than a whisper. Morgan placed a gentle hand on her small shoulder, his eyes meeting hers with unwavering kindness. "That's very hard to say, sweetheart," he said softly. "But sometimes, even when people can't be with us anymore, their love never leaves us. Your mom will always be with you, right here in your heart. You'll feel her love, always." Emily looked down, her tiny body trembling as she tried to comprehend the loss. Slowly, she leaned into Morgan's shoulder, her quiet sobs breaking the heavy silence. "But I miss her so much," she murmured, her voice cracking. Morgan wrapped his arms around her, holding her gently as if to shield her from the pain of the world. "I know, sweetheart," he said softly, his voice carrying both sorrow and reassurance. Your mom was a wonderful person, I can tell. Right now, she would want me to take care of you. She would want you to know you're not alone. I'm here, and I promise I'll help you. You're not alone anymore." For the first time, Emily felt a faint sense of security in the arms of someone who truly cared. Morgan held her close, his mind drifting to the losses he had faced in his own life. But he knew this moment wasn't about him. It was about Emily, this brave little girl who had lost so much, yet still clung to hope. He resolved then and there to be her strength, to guide her through the storm, and to help her find the light once more. Morgan listened carefully to Emily's words, piecing together the heartbreaking reality. With a gentle tone, he said, "Sweetheart, sometimes things aren't how we imagine them. There was so much smoke in the house, wasn't there? Sometimes in situations like that, people get so tired they can't wake up, but that doesn't mean they're at fault." Emily's wide eyes reflected a mix of confusion and hope as she tried to understand. "Does that mean my mom won't wake up?" she whispered, her voice as fragile as a feather. Morgan took a deep breath, kneeling down to meet her gaze, his voice full of compassion. "Your mom was an incredible person. She might be asleep now, but she's no longer with us. However, that doesn't mean her love isn't with you. She will always be by your side, in your heart." Tears rolled down Emily's cheeks, her small frame trembling as the reality began to sink in. Without a word, she leaned into Morgan's embrace, her sobs muffled against his chest. Morgan held her gently, letting her know she wasn't alone. "You're not alone anymore," he said softly. "I'm here for you, and I'll help you through this." Morgan decided to take Emily into his care. As he helped her into his car, he held her trembling hands and spoke softly, "Sweetheart, you're safe now. I have a place for you to stay with me, where you'll be loved and cared for. Everything will get better. I promise." When they arrived at his home, Morgan prepared a warm meal for Emily and showed her to a cozy bedroom decorated just for her. Emily slowly began to feel a sense of safety she hadn't known since the fire. That night, as Morgan sat by her bedside, he spoke gently about her parents. "Your dad was a hero, Emily, and your mom was a beautiful soul who loved you more than anything. They'll always be with you, even if you can't see them. Life can be tough, but these challenges make us stronger. And you, Emily, are one of the bravest girls I've ever met." Morgan Freeman took it upon himself to fund Emily's education and provide her with every opportunity to rebuild her life. He enrolled her in a prestigious school and arranged for her to work with a counselor to heal from her trauma. "This is just the beginning," Morgan said lovingly, looking into her eyes. "You deserve the very best in life." At a charity event held in Emily's honor, Morgan and Emily took to the stage together. Morgan turned to the crowd and said, "Emily's story reminds us all of the transformative power of love and solidarity. Together, we can make this world a better place." Holding Morgan's hand tightly, Emily spoke softly but confidently into the microphone. "Mr. Freeman, you gave me not just a home, but a new life and a family. I'll never forget what you've done for me. Thank you." Her heartfelt words moved everyone in the room to tears. Emily's life transformed completely through Morgan's love and support. She learned to overcome her hardships and look toward the future with hope. This story became a powerful testament to the impact of compassion and unity in changing lives. If this story touched your heart, please help us spread the power of love and kindness. Like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. Together, we can make the world a brighter place.